Hey everybody, Raven here, back with another episode of Coin Shop Talk with my partner in coin crime, Stephanie. Today, we're going to talk about everything pennies and cents. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're literally going to talk about everything from the beginning of the chain cent all the way up to the Lincoln wheat cent and beyond.
All right, those are our large pennies. Now let's go to the cents. Now, I don't have an example of the flowing hair cent or the chain cent because they're super expensive, super rare, not super attractive in my opinion, sorry. But if you come closer, get a look here. They only made these for 1 year, 1793. So you've got the chain on the back, which is known as the chain cent, but just the design is not attractive. They tried to make her, with her hair in the wind and all attractive and model-esque, but she really looks like a Salem witch trial witch who's currently burning to me.
Yeah, it's different, and the prices on these are absolutely phenomenal. When you're talking about an about good
$6,000,
right? That's insane because a G4 you're at $8,000-9,000, uncirculated $500,000, $210,000. Those are numbers that people just really can't touch, so it'll be very rare that you ever see these in a coin shop. You might catch them at a coin show, but
in a museum maybe.
Yeah,
so you won't see them a whole lot. They're not an attractive coin, but they're still super valuable. I just never did like those.
And that leads us into the next one, the Liberty Cap that Stephanie is going to talk about real quick, because we just have one in our showcase.
All right, here's our Liberty Cap. 1793 to 1796 is when they made these, and you'll see this one is pretty low grade, and it's still a pretty expensive coin. Much better design, I think. Her hair is a little bit more organized, and while it looks like her cap is falling off her head, that's actually on a stick. It's just reminiscent of the French Revolution. Mm-hmm. The French slaves wore hats, so they took it off and put it on the stick to represent that they were now free. So even though that wasn't really a thing in the United States, we still use that design because of what it represents. Everyone's familiar.
All right, our next series of the large cents is the Draped bust from 1796 to 1807. Now, it's amazing that we even have some of these. You can go to a lot of stores throughout the cities, and a lot of them don't have these older large cents, and we're lucky to have them. They're a very gorgeous coin, and the only problem is that even the really nice one, which this would be considered at VF to XF, they're so dark because of the patina and the age. Yeah, you can't really see it in there. Now, if we had a scope where we could light it up, you could see it a little better. But the thing with large cents is that, honestly, like I said a second ago, a lot of shops don't have them. They're very rare. The surviving populations are extremely small. So even in AG, which is about good, level 3, we're talking
hundreds of dollars.
For a coin that looks like it came out of the ground yesterday kind of thing. And it's one of those things where, like I said, we're lucky to have them, and that leads us into the next group, and that is the classic head. Now, there's a bunch of different ones that exist. Now, the classic head was from 1808 to 1814. So we have a couple right here. We only have 3 in our case. And to give you an idea, this is a VG10, and that coin is $350. Now, this one's a little nicer. You can see some detail to it, but understand that if you find these for cheap anywhere, doesn't matter the condition, jump all over them, because again, with the classic head, you're talking $145 is the minimum price for G4s.
It makes perfect sense.
It really does. Now, the highest end, of course, you're talking tens of thousands of dollars. And the next set of large cents we have is the coronet head. Now, this coin is probably the most common that people see, and it is from 1816 to 1839.
They just keep changing her hairstyle is what it is.
Pretty much.
They keep going. It gets up, a little bit higher every time.
Yep, she's getting older.
That's right. That's right. They got to keep.
Eventually, she'll have a bobbed haircut.
It'll be a little bun.
And so these become more reasonable in price because people had a little more money at that time of the government. This is before the Civil War, so the colonies were doing all right, and the minting numbers were a bit higher than previous ones. Then we go into the next rendition of large cents, and we're talking the braided hair, which is the one that is the super common as far as large cents, but still a pricey coin, beautiful design. I mean, when you see these uncirculated, they're one of those coins that make you go, wow, that's a nice coin.
They're really gorgeous, especially with that nice reddish brown look to them before they get too dark.
Yeah. And, and they're relatively reasonable. You can get some as low as, $25, $26 in the G4, and even some that are uncirculated for about $1,300 to $1,500, which is reasonable. There's a lot of something I forgot to mention in these different large cents. There is a lot of varieties and overdates and things to keep in mind when you're looking at these. The key dates on them. Right, so we had a little technical difficulty there, but there are things that are considered real key, and then that's if you can find any of these in proof, because the numbers that they minted, they don't even know the actual number.
Wow.
There's all proof mintages are included in the year's circulation strike, so you have to go back to the other thing and say, okay, well, proofs were made in that year. There was 4 million coins, but they don't know the actual date, so they think the surviving numbers are these numbers right here. They're taking a rough guess as to what survived. This, I don't think, sounds right. The 48 all of a sudden has 213,000 proofs.
That's probably a typo.
Yeah, that seems really odd. But those are tens of thousands of dollars in the worst condition of, not worst, but proof 64, which is pretty low line on a proof.
Yes.
So it's really, really cool. But what that leads us into, ladies and gentlemen, is the ever famous, what this shop is named after, is the Flying Eagle cent.
All right, with Flying Eagle cents. So they only made those for 3 years, 1856, 57, and 58. The super rare is the 1856. That is the key, the gem,
which is amazing. Only 2,000 minted.
Right.
Like honestly, who does that?
Right. When you have 17 million and 24 million
tired.
of the others.
Yeah. Whoever was on shift that night, my hands hurt.
Yeah.
I don't want to do anymore.
But that's crazy. $8,750 just for a G4. But look at the MS-63. I would think that coin would be worth a lot more.
I would too.
There was only 2,000 made.
I had one years ago that we sold, and I sold it to an old man because it was damaged. It had a crack in it. But he said, if I was that old, I'd have a crack in me too. So we had bought it because he liked it.
So we want to show you something really nice. Cameraman Sean's been showing off his coins, and this is a beautiful Flying Eagle example.
Gorgeous. All that detail. It's
yeah.
glistening, shiny, golden.
You just don't see them like that often, and we'll show you the reverse.
Really hard to see.
And the reverse is right there.
Upside down. Hard to.
Here, I'll flip it. I'll flip it good.
Dun, 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 dun.
All right, so that is the Flying Eagle cents, and that leads us
right over to the engine cents. I can say that because you're an engine.
Hey, you got a race car in the red. All right. So the Indian head cents, again, went from 1860 to 1909. And there is all sorts of goodies in there. To give you an idea, if you can find an 1873 with doubled Liberty, $260 just for a G4. I thought that was $260,000 for a second because I'm not used to seeing the decimals. I don't know why they all of a sudden put decimal points and everything, and they're not staying consistent, you know.
No, strange.
But the 1877 is the date that you're really looking for.
That's your super key.
Yeah. 852,000 minted. Look at those prices. You know, I mean, just
Like a $600 coin in good condition.
yeah. And what's crazy, so now look at how expensive that is, and they made way more than they did of the Flying Eagle cents
Exactly.
in 56, and yet, you know, that thing's commanding pretty good money in comparison. The other thing you're looking for is the 1888 8/7.
That's a pretty
$1,450 if you can recognize it in a G4. Now, one of the things that you got to consider when you're looking for these over dates, some of these grades like G4, it's almost impossible to really see what's going on as far as the kind of detail you need to really distinguish it. So if you find one of those years and you want to take a risk, send it in, let the big boys, you know, the graders, determine it for you. You pay a little extra, just say, I think it is one, and see what happens, you know. And as we go over to the next page, you know, things kind of start evening out as far as price. You have a couple dates that are a little more sought after, you know, like the 1894 is a little bit.
Once they changed over to copper, I think they became. That's when they were a little bit more.
And it's the doubles, you know, in these. The L in the lapel, which I know we have one or two of the L's. I'm just not sure where it's at.
Yeah, someone was asking me about that the other day, and I need to show them. It's right behind the feather and the braid.
ribbon.
Yeah,
Yep,
right behind.
right there. And the ones with L's on them go for serious money when they're straight grades. This one's a detail coin, so something's going on. It's got some environmental damage. And then, you know, it's relatively a sleeper coin for a lot of them. You can get Indian cents that are in beautiful condition for less than $100. When you're trying to get some serious numismatic coins in your pocket, it's hard to go wrong with that. You
It
know?
really is. And with those two, the simple thing to look for as far as condition is Liberty in the headband.
Yep.
If you can read Liberty in the headband, that's what you want to hang on to.
That's one of the biggest factors, and the other one is the diamonds in the ribbon that goes by the face. Then when you get to 1908 and 1909, those are the only 2 years that have mint marks in Indian head cents, and those are from the San Francisco Mint. The 08 is not as sought after as the 09, but they are both quite a bit of money. We only have the 08 S's in stock. We have a couple here. We have a really nice one here. And I don't see an. Oh yeah, we do have an 09S. My mistake. We got two of them. But in a G6, that's a $300 coin. You know, and an F this is $125. So that lets you know the 1909S is the one you're really looking for ones in the mint marks. Now going forward, we have Stephanie talking about the Lincoln wheat cent. Ladies and gentlemen, let me get that over here so that we have references and she can take it away. We just got done with Indian head cents, and it makes me want to tell Stephanie, hey, how are you?
I love it. Alrighty, wheat cents, wheat back. So these ones I get calls about the most because people think that they're all super rare, and they're totally not. So the one you want to look for is the 1909 S VDB. So there's a 1909 S, a 1909, and a 1909 VDB. You got to have one that has all of them.
A real one.
Key.
Yes, and it's a real one. There's a lot of counterfeits out there.
Yes, people.
We won't
deceive
even
me.
take them unless they're certified.
Yep. And remember, 1909 to 1958 is the years that they were ran. And Stephanie knows a lot about these coins. It's amazing how much. I mean, we get calls daily, 5, 6, 7, 8 times within the first hour. Do you guys buy wheat cents? And you know, we have to give them the same old spiel.
Yes, I'm a bubble burster on a regular basis. The 43 is actually quite common. It's not silver. So your key dates.
And
besides-
don't drive up here
Yes.
thinking you're going to make internet money.
Dude, I've had people show up and they're like, we just drove 3 hours to get here. And we want to sell our wheat cents. What do you pay? And I look them straight face. I said, we don't look through them because it's so rare to find a good one that it's counterproductive to search cents ourselves. So we put them in this bucket back here. We
Show
got
and
this
tell.
little bucket. Right now we don't have very many wheat cents, but we buy them for 2, we sell them for 4.
Actually, we changed that.
Oh wait, yeah, that did change recently to 5 cents because demand is just so insane. We had 2 full buckets the other day, and we had people basically fighting to get them. You know, not in a bad way, but you know, one guy's like, "Well, let me make a deal without even counting them." No, we put them in the counter over there, and it's first come, first serve.
So we pay 3 cents, and we sell them for 5. And you basically need to go through them yourself and pull out the ones you think are rare, and then you can cash in on the ones that aren't.
If you
But we
have
don't
the
search.
14D, if you have the 22 no D, the 24D, those are the semi-key dates.
31S. Yeah.
31S, really anything D or an S between, say, 1911 and 1915. But again, if they're just in very circulated condition, I don't have time to look at them. I don't get paid enough to do that. It's actually punishment for me to look through pennies. So I don't like to be punished, especially when I'm the boss. So that's not one of those things that we do. But they are super fun. I like the wheat back is a prettier design. So you just, that's pretty much it on the Wheaties. Up to 58, and then 59 we get into memorial cents. Woo-hoo.
Yeah. Oh, and the one thing about the 14D is understand there is a phenomenal amount of counterfeits out there, or ones that are just altered dates. You know, they take 1944s, they get rid of part of the 4, and you'll know because there's this just gap
Giant
between,
gap.
Yeah, between 19 and 14. And they also do a thing that's called spark erosion, where they take a miniature torch and they literally work the metal to make it look like there's a mint mark. And that's why when people weigh them, they don't weigh extra.
I see.
Because if you would put a mint mark on there with extra metal, it would weigh like 3.12, which would be a giveaway.
Because we've seen that before too.
Yeah. And so a lot of times with the spark erosion, you'll see it looks like little circles. Like
Stacking dimes.
Yep, little stacked dimes on the Denver mint mark. But here's the thing, the important thing is that you have fun doing this, guys.
Yes.
You know, that's one of the reasons we love doing this for the community, because we've been getting a lot of positive feedback about Coin Shop Talk. We still have dimes, nickels, dollars, 2-cent pieces, a lot of stuff to go through for you. Then we
World
got
coins,
world
tokens,
yep.
currency.
Yeah, so there's plenty of stuff to come, and we're very, very appreciative that you support us. If you want to visit us, you can see us at
9118 South Walker, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 73139.
If you want to correspond, it's ravenhawkcoins@gmail.com. Our P.O. Box is 721-296, Norman, Oklahoma, 73070. From one engine to another, like always, please make sure to take care of one another, and we'll see you real soon. Ravenhawk Coins, have a great day.